Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's first episode of our conversations on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Today, we're joined by the lovely Annelies Richmond. She's the director of teacher training for the Art of Living. She also leads silent retreats, meditation retreats, and the Sky Breath meditation course online. So glad she's with us. Welcome, Annelies.
Thank you, Andrew, for having me.
Uh,
Great being with you. You're also an amazing teacher.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. So today in our first episode, we're going to dive into what else than the first sutra. So it's a conversation on what does it mean when we say, and now let's look into the discipline of yoga. So Annelies, any first thoughts, or shall we start with some questions?
Well, I think it's really interesting that Patanjali starts with "and now," because yoga is all about the now. And all the practices are leading us to the now, or if we practice them regularly with discipline, we are able to be in the now more effortlessly. And if you really look at it, this is it. Now, our life is happening right now. And thinking that life is in the past or in the future is an illusion, because we only have the now. So there's something even really profound about that. Starting and now, like now, this is it. The now is all there is. And then the discipline of the practices can help us be in the now as a regular way of living. The right kind of practice and with regularity makes the now an experience. And for me, it's like living life with depth in each moment, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, mentally, physically.
It's interesting you say that. I've been struggling a bit with the term mindfulness lately, because for me, the experience of being in the now is much more heart-based. It's kind of connected with being, existing rather than with thinking and thoughts and this kind of not controlling thoughts, but trying to regulate the thoughts or, mindfulness. So it's like, oh, why don't we call it heartfulness? Or, it's getting outside our mind. It feels like more than getting more in the mind, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes total sense.
Can we talk about this next question, discipline? Some people may have reservations about the idea of discipline in an era of personal freedom, of independence. What does discipline mean here, and how is it valuable?
Woo, that's a nice question. I truly believe, and I learned this in a big way from Sri Ravi Shankar, but also from my previous career, that discipline brings freedom.
And could you let us know what your previous career was for people that don't know yet?
Yeah, so my previous career was I was a professional ballerina or ballet dancer, and there's so much discipline in it. Like everything you discipline. You eat a certain way, you do or do not exercise certain ways, just so you can keep the discipline of your body. You're so disciplined in the art form, and you practice and practice and practice, and you learn this art form and you cultivate it, and every little detail is the placement of the hand, everything, and it's a lot of discipline. But suddenly when you use all that discipline daily and then you practice and you get on the stage, you can let go and be free. And there's complete freedom in that. You're living and expressing, or you're in that art form, you're dancing with total freedom. But you can only dance with total freedom because you had the discipline and you structured and strengthened your muscles in the right way, and the ligaments and the bone. You can only operate inside of that with freedom by using the discipline over and over.
And how does that translate into life?
Yeah, so I think we've probably all been there, where we got into really undisciplined habits. Like if maybe we had some time
Netflix
off.
binge.
Yeah, Netflix binge, or like we had too much time off, or we were unemployed, and it's like, in a way, we feel more caged when we don't have any discipline, because we're just kind of following our whims and fancies, and the mind is not always clear, or there's too many things we could do, like, so I feel like in normal life, when we have some discipline and we decide with a clear mind, these are the few disciplines I want to implement, those disciplines bring us strength to achieve our goals. They bring us strength to keep our mind clear. They actually bring us strength to maintain happiness. Like, if you want to maintain your happiness, it's going to take some discipline. Like, you can't just eat crap or whatever you want all the time. You're probably going to start feeling kind of low, and that's going to impact your mood. And or you need to make some social connections, and even that takes some discipline, keeping up with your friends. Or then, we all know social connection boosts our happiness. And I would say the discipline of yoga, which to me the deeper aspect is the breathing practices and meditation, that little bit of discipline every day, gosh, just half an hour, right? Half an hour a day, it gives you freedom the rest of the day for your mind to be free. Like, your mind is freed up to focus on your work or even enjoy a meeting, instead of, what's the opposite of freedom is you're in the meeting and the mind is so anxious it can't be there, and it's running here and running there and running there. Like, that's not freedom. And I think all of us love this independent lifestyle. That's what we really want. We want to feel free. But where's the real freedom is in the mind feeling free, the mind able to just alight in the present moment. So the discipline of the practices brings that freedom to be in the present moment and not be bogged down by so much other stuff.
So this is great. I think that brings up a couple of really great, remarkable questions to contemplate on, to consider. One is what you just said. What is the opposite of freedom? What does that feel like in our lives? The second, kind of the opposite of that, is what does freedom mean? What is that freedom that we're looking for that the discipline of yoga provides? What is freedom to us?
Well, I would say that we're mostly driven in our lives by, whether we consciously acknowledge it or not, we make decisions and move towards things either because intuitively we think it's going to make us happy or it's going to make us feel more free. Like, happiness and freedom, those we move towards. And some people might say, no, well, then I don't even care about happiness. But actually, we do move towards it instinctively. We move towards something that we think is going to make us more happy. We think achieving this desire is going to make us more happy, so we go for it. Or we think something's going to make us feel more of a sense of freedom. But I would say normally what we do to feel free is we try to fix the events or people in our life, and that makes us feel that we will feel more free. Like, if I can get rid of that boss person or that person at my work that's competitive,
the thing outside,
yeah, we're like, that's crowding my freedom, my style, it's crowding my, or whatever, all the negative opinions are bothering me. Like, when we think, okay, I need to get rid of that thing, then I'll feel the freedom. Or like, I need to get divorced or I need to get married to feel more free because I don't have a partner and a love. And we do all the outer things. Or I know if I just go to the mountains where you are, Andrew, I know if I just get to the mountaintop, I'll feel free. I mean, there is something very beautiful about being in the mountains, but we do all the events and try to arrange our life to get that ounce of feeling free. It's like, but the real freedom is, one, I would say, being able to be yourself in any situation. Can you just be yourself and be natural, relaxed, not worrying about what everybody else thinks, not being the football of their opinion? That's one part of freedom. And the other part is, are we able to live in this moment? And I think we should not wait until we're on our deathbed to think, oh my God, I just should have enjoyed the life in that moment. Or I just should have spent more time with my loved ones, or whatever it was. I should have gone for the thing. Nobody would have cared if I went for it, but I was afraid of their judgments. Or a lot of times it's like people get close to death and they realize it, or they have a life-threatening disease and that's when they go for it because they're like, well, I'm gonna die anyway, and they suddenly feel the freedom to do stuff. So I think the real freedom is in the mind, is in our, or like you said earlier, the mind and the heart. Like, can I feel free to be in a situation and enjoy the moment and be in the moment and seize the moment 100%, and still be moving towards my goals. But what is the opposite of freedom is being so stuck to the goals that you can't even enjoy getting there. Maybe that's called anxiety or too much ambition that like burns you inside so you can't sleep, or anxiety that's robbing you of anything in this moment. I mean, if you think about it, your whole life is the journey. So when the mind is too attached to the future and the outcome, I would say that's the opposite of freedom. Mind is stuck on the outcome has to be this, has to be this. And actually, when we are so stuck on the outcome has to be this, we can't be as effective right now because we're 45, 50% there and we're 50% here. And like, so we're not even doing the 100% to get to that goal, So that is opposite of freedom. Other opposite of freedom is being stuck in the past, where you're like, you won't forgive something that happened. You won't forgive somebody. I have some people in my life who do that. Like, you won't say, okay, that was them and me way back then. And now I'm here, I'm a brand new person, and you allow the other person to be a brand new person. Like, people change every moment, people change, but that's freedom, is not being so, or that's the opposite of freedom. You're asking the opposite, is being so stuck to the past, feeling you have to be even stuck to your own self in the past. Like, oh, I'm like this, so I am like this, so I'm still like this. Or so stuck to how other people were, that all that anger and resentment clouds the now. And I think, yeah.
And if there's one thing that this sutra reminds you of when you hear it, what's the first thing it reminds you of?
And now the discipline of yoga. It just reminds me of the beauty of sitting each day, like the beauty of being like, whether I feel horrible and crappy and the mind is jumping around at 10,000 miles an hour, or whether I feel nice and peaceful and it's a sunny day, who cares? I'm going to sit on that cushion, on that mat, do my breathing techniques, meditate. It reminds me of how the beauty of opening that space for yourself every day, and that beauty, that commitment. It's like that ultra commitment, what it will do for you. And it's like I don't know, I'm going to say this because I've been meditating for 21 or 22 years. The mind still argues with you. I think maybe this is the best thing to say to beginners. If you're a beginner meditator, anybody watching this, or don't think you can't meditate because your mind is saying, no, I don't feel like it. Well, guess what? The mind never really feels like it, because the mind likes to be like stuck on the past or future, obsessed with doing stuff, or I have to answer this email, it's more important than closing my eyes, But I would say, I would say that just no matter what the mind is saying, because even after 20 years, the mind will still come up with excuses. Like, I should do this other thing first, or the mind doesn't like to turn off. That's its nature. It doesn't, the mind's not just magically one day going to be like, I should just sit and meditate. It's like, it's only the commitment or the discipline of yoga, the discipline that drives you like, oh no, come on. Okay, mind, I'm not listening to you right now because I'm going to sit and do my practice. And then afterwards, the mind is all shiny and like you can utilize it instead of being a slave to it.
Beautiful. So thanks, Annelies, for joining us today. You can connect with Annelies on Instagram, Annelies Richmond. Also, if you want to check out the other video where we go into the Sanskrit explanation about this first sutra, Atha Yoga Nushasanam, check the link here.